Want to know why the creation of the Noisy Chair happened? Well, people wanted to share their story, concerns, and being loud. Well, I'm here to listen, have an opinion, and talk to people. That's what this is all about. My name is Dave, aka DJ Dave. Love being part of a new journey with amazing people on my podcast. So we were talking offline, and we were just saying it's great to have you here, and trying to get just great talent and newcomers and new DJs, and you've like spiked up. Like you spiked up the ladder of DJing, and this is the second of two parts of a segment I created for up and coming DJs, and wanted to share and wanted you to share with everybody, your journey, how you got here, and I'd like to welcome none other than DJ. Welcome to the podcast, the Noisy Chair Podcast.
Hi, everybody.
This is great.
Hello.
I can tell you're a little bit nervous. Don't worry about it. It's all good. We're in the same room. We just got two different cameras going at, one at me and then one at you. So it's all good. We're not virtual. We're in the studio.
Yeah.
Listen, thanks for coming down. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And
oh my gosh.
I really wanted to talk to you about the house music and how you got into it, and just the whole aspect of like what made you decide that you want to get into this, because honestly I think you are a talented and amazing DJ, and you got into more of the house music genre, but you also love other genres, right? So tell us a bit about yourself and your full and last name, and tell us everybody who are you?
Who am I? Oh my God, that's a big question. That's a really big question. Well, my actual name is Deandra Angelica Fatika Jaramillo, or Jaramillo Fatika. It's hyphenated. I always forget the order.
It's okay.
of the two last names, but yeah, I mean, who am I? Oh my gosh. Well,
you're 21 years old.
21 years old.
Like,
yeah.
I think you are probably the youngest house music female DJ.
Oh my God.
If you look at it that way, because I've been looking around online, and I didn't see anybody who was in your shoes doing that. And your father is none other than G Money, Juan Jaramillo, and love the guy. He is awesome.
Oh, he's amazing.
He's amazing, and I he probably had a huge influence on you on getting into the music.
Yeah. He's been like, my mom and dad are both my biggest fans, right? But my dad's like my Jedi master, you know what I mean? That's what I think of him as. It's been a crazy journey of how I got here, you know what I mean? And like I like DJing was never my first thing. You know
wasn't
what I mean?
it?
It wasn't.
Okay.
My heart was in film in the beginning. That's what I went to school for. I was even in my high school. I had I was in a specialized like major program.
Okay.
I went for media, and it was focused on different aspects of media, like graphic design, film, etc. So I wanted to be like, my goal in life has always been to be like a master storyteller. That's what I knew. Like, I wanted to tell stories, right? But my heart fell for, like I started off with photography, actually. Photography was my first thing. You
were taking pictures of your dad DJing?
No, it even goes even more back.
Oh, does it really?
Okay. Like my first camera I ever got, I believe I was, oh my God, I think I was maybe 8 or 9.
Right.
And it was this like little pink point and shoot camera, and my aunt got it for me for Christmas.
Nice.
And my world changed.
Really?
Like, that was it, and I started taking pictures, and then I would post them on remember MSN,
Oh my God.
MSN.
I remember that.
Or like Windows Messenger, I used to post them up on there.
Right.
And then I had a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I did a bit of graphic design too. I had like my little moment with that, but didn't like that. And I was like, I like writing, I like film, photography. I love to. I stopped for a while. I got kind of bored of it, and then once I came back to it, I started this account when I was in high school. And it started off as like a, what was it? Like a journal, like a digital journal.
Okay.
And then I made this pun, right? It's a digital journal. Get it?
A digital
journal.
Yeah, of course I get it. Yeah.
I did. I created the account and I started posting stuff over time. And then I went to one of my friends, Maddie. Shout out to Maddie.
Shout out to Maddie.
Shout out to Maddie. She let me borrow her camera because she had one of like a really nice Canon Rebel. I didn't have like a super nice camera at the time.
Oh yeah, the Rebel, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So she lended it to me, and we just organized the shoot with me and a bunch of like I took pictures, and it was just my friends.
Right.
And it was like it blew up. Like it did really well.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? And slowly I just started getting better and better, and then I saved my money up and I got my first like legitimate camera. And
Excellent.
That was so amazing. I was so happy. My dad drove me. We went up to, I think it was like Heart Lake area.
Right.
And we picked it up, and it was, I was so excited. I was like, this is the beginning of something great, you know? And then I just went at it and I started taking more pictures. And then I started writing, you know, I started making my own little films, my own little short films. And then after that, I premiered my first short film when I was like in 2018.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So I did that. I wrote,
where can we see this?
On YouTube. It's all on my YouTube channel. Okay. I have a bunch of stuff on there. I haven't visited film. I'll get to that. But like, I haven't done that stuff in a while. But all the stuff that I have done, it's all on my website and on my YouTube. So
awesome.
I was a part of this really amazing project called Aeonix Fiji. I was with a bunch of amazing artists. Local artists, and we it was at the Mississauga like a community center. I forget exactly where it was called, but it was organized by Angelica and Rhonda, these two really good friends of mine, right? And they asked me to be a part of it, to premiere my film, to have something ready for it. And there was like, I think 500 people there.
Fuck, that's awesome, man. That's great.
Yeah, it was around that amount, and people really liked it. And I remember I hit like over 1,000 views on it, and I was like, oh my God.
That's amazing. What was it about? Like, what was it?
21st century youth. So it was like a whole poem I wrote kind of in the perspective of someone writing a letter.
Okay.
And I made like a visual to it. And it's
is it sort of exactly in line of what the youths are today in the 21st century? Is that what it was about? Like, were you describing what the youths are?
Yeah, like? well, pretty much just the struggles, and just, you know, it's been a while.
Right. No, listen, I love that, because it's, you know, it doesn't have to be the youths, it could be anybody, right?
For sure. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of things that this generation, you know, of this youth, like they, you know, we have to go through, that are unlike, you know, any other generation, like, you know, but that's always going to be like consistently changing, obviously, right? But I wanted to make something that kind of provides perspective on that, right? Yeah. And kind of speaks for, you know, speaks for everybody, right? So, you know, like, now when I look back at it, I'm like, oh my God, you know, you know, it wasn't, you know, I think every piece of work is really important.
Of course it is, but you always look back and you always look at your work, or you're like when I even when I'm watching myself DJing on Twitch, or if I look back and I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? You know, right? So I get that feeling. I totally get it. But I'm glad that you dabble in the film and the photography aspect. And so you're 21, you're young, you're great. Like, you're DJing, the style of DJ is fantastic. You know, so you would go down to your dad's studio and start playing records, just like practicing on vinyl.
Yeah. Like I learned all on vinyl, you know, first, right? It was really funny. You know, I started, like, when I started DJing, it was during the pandemic, right? Because, you know, like I was saying, I was working in film. I also worked on sets and everything too. And I just felt like, you know, once everything shut down, I was like, I don't know, maybe I was questioning, is this really for me or whatever? Anyways, long story short, I remember, you know, there was this one meme, like, I'm being so honest. So there was this one meme. I don't know if you maybe have seen it. It was a really big meme, because this is when, like, you know, coronavirus, you know, was like first spreading, right? It was these guys in hazmat suits, right? And they were DJing with like hand sanitizers as like the as the knobs, right? And then it was so like Benny Benassi Satisfaction or whatever.
Way. Yeah.
And then they were like like spinning the sanitizer bottles like they were DJing, and it was so funny. I was like, oh my God, let me go try that. So I downloaded a bunch of music, and then I just go downstairs and I just go at it. I call my dad. I'm like, Dad, how do I set this up? And then I just like kind of taught myself, in the beginning. And then my dad would come downstairs, when he is home, and he would just kind of be like, Dad, like, look at this or whatever. Right. Look what I did here. Or I would send him videos of like me trying something out, like, look at this mix I just did. Yeah. And then he would give me advice on like that, or I know my dad works very hard, we don't always get. Of course
he is, man. Yeah. Of course he does.
Right. I love him a lot, but the one thing I do like is that, he gave me the tools. He taught me, like the basics and what I should know. And then I just kind of did my own thing with everything else.
Exactly what a parent should do.
Exactly. Okay? Yeah.
It's textbook, and he's set you up in the right direction. Mm-hmm. My kids love music, but they are not passionate like how we are in curating music. And you love all type of genre music. Like you love the rock and roll, classic rock, and you collect hip hop. So you've collected vinyl along the way that you enjoy, because I know you were looking at the
Pink Floyd. I love it. Yeah.
It's great. I mean, like I love. There's Marley. She just came right.
Hi, Marley. Oh my gosh.
So yeah, it's like I love all genres. I got like Prince behind me is like he's
amazing.
That's
my favorite too.
Oh my God, so but a lot of classic rock, and it was a great influence and inspired me to appreciate the music of the 70s and 80s and today and so forth. But so like you're getting into it, you like love the hip hop, you love what made you decide to stick with house
music?
Yeah.
Well, the first album I fully listened to, or like that I remember so clearly, was Daft Punk's Discovery.
Okay.
And Daft Punk and Kanye West were like my first like earliest, two artists that I remembered, right? And once like I became a really big Daft Punk fan as growing up, and I really loved everything Thomas Bangalter did, right? Okay. I love Thomas Bangalter, and then not to mention like I heard my dad all the time playing house music, but I actually didn't like house music for a little bit. I didn't, I was kind of like, I didn't understand it, growing up, my dad would show me something, and I'll try to be like, no, I don't like this, you know what I mean? But like at the end of the day, like house music is everything, you know what I mean?
Of course it is.
House music is everything.
You said it.
And like once I kind of connected the dots and realized, I'm like, wait, Daft Punk is house music, you know what I mean? And I've always known that, but like, once I got older and really started to appreciate music, right, like properly, like it all kind of came in together. Like I had my moment when I like techno. I still like techno. Sorry, I mean trance. I like Tiesto and all that stuff. And then Deadmau5, all those other things. But everything always comes back to house music.
It all comes back. House music. Yeah. House music is like, obviously house music originated back from disco.
It was Disco's Revenge.
Right? So it's like, and you can hear talk about Disco Revenge, you talk about, all sorts of ways of house music was created. But, I think the way you curate the house music also is on how great of a DJ you are.
For sure.
You can gather up, 20 house music songs, and they won't go well together when you play it, right?
Oh,
so
no, 100%.
They can be the same BPMs, 125 to 128. They can be the same BPMs, but still sound like shit when you try to mix it, right? So, I don't know how you do it, but if I'm going to do a set, I'll always, if I'm going to go with an Afro or with a deep, or whether go with soulful house, which I'm more of soulful. I love soulful house. And tech house. I started getting more into tech house because of I like the aspect of mixing the remixing the older songs into more of a techie house. More of a
techie,
right. So, but for me to go back to, I will spend countless of hours curating music that flows well with each other, and then I'm like, okay, fuck, there it is. Yeah. Sometimes DJs can play on the fly. I get it. But you know what? If all they're going to play is garage house, then that's like one feel of house, right?
Yeah.
So, but I always like to curate. I always like to spend hours trying to curate the music, and I know that it's going to flow.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, I just like, like, are you talking like just in general? Like,
yeah, like if you're going to, let's say, okay, for instance, you know what? You played fucking Wiggle Room, okay? Yeah. With the all Latin lineup there.
Yeah.
And I heard it was a huge success, and Michelle Diva, love her. She's, she was big to Michelle, up to Michelle Diva.
Yep.
She took amazing videos and she promoted you guys awesome. And so she, so I'm watching the videos and everything, and you've been doing great there. And it's like, a 21-year-old going to a club and DJing. First of all, you got to be confident. You got to be comfortable. You got to be. You just got to be like in it, and you're all that, and it's there. You know when some people get there and it's like they're so nervous and it affects their mix or whatever. Maybe I get it. We get jitters in our stuff. Like I always get jitters when I'm playing for people, right? You carry passionate, right?
For sure.
So. Like when you're building a set for that night, what set did you build? What were you building? Like what music, what sort of genre of house were you playing that night?
Well, I was kind of going like, the thing is with me when I figure out my set list, it's like I'm very dynamic, right? Like, like my dad tells me, when you're DJing, you're telling a story. It's still storytelling. Exactly. So, my dad, it's almost like like when you have like an outline of a story, there's the beginning and then there's the climax and then there's like, I kind of coordinate along that, right? Okay. For instance, like I started off with tribal, right? And then
love
tribal and more Latin, and then then you kind of go in, you find that one song that kind of bridges you into like, let's say, the more popular remixes of like songs, like classic songs, right? Then you kind of go into from there, you kind of bring it down a notch. Like it all depends. My set list kind of got messed up that night, just because something happened with my USB key, but I still played really well, right?
Awesome.
But still, like, I try to, like, you have to make sure that the songs make sense, you know what I mean? Like what you said,
it flows.
It flows, right? And I'm very particular with like, like for instance, like if I'm playing a place that's more like soulful melodic house, what I mean, or deep house or whatever, I'm gonna go and immerse myself for like 2 hours, on SoundCloud or Beatport and just find everything I can. And whatever I feel like with my heart, the way I know if a song is good, if I feel it in my chest and I'm like, oh my God, like, because it's like DJing is like, like, yes, like I'm doing it for me, but I'm, it's a service to the people, what I mean? Right? Of course. Like it's like my passion, I want it to reflect on, I want people to, to feel that. Right. And enjoy that and be just as passionate as I am. You know what I mean? To see people happy in front of me is like the best
my God, what
feeling.
a feeling that
oh
is,
my God. It's the best feeling.
It pumps you up more. And then you're like, your hour or your 2 hours up like that.
Like
you're
that.
Holy shit,
where
man.
did it go?
Right?
Exactly. So
no, I totally get where the music has to flow like a story.
Has to make sense, right?
Has to make sense.
My favorite though, I love epic house music. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, like stuff with like gospel house. Like that's what I define as like epic house music.
Nice.
You know what I mean? I love gospel house. Like I love Kanye West, right? Kanye West uses a lot of gospel in his music, right? And it's like when I hear the elements of gospel and in house music like infused together, I think that's like chef's kiss, you know what I mean? So it's like, that would be like a climax song, you know what I mean? But it's just all the songs kind of have to they have to flow in, like you're painting, right? I also do art too, right? When you're painting or you're drawing, you got to make sure all the lines, flow together.
Absolutely.
Right? So I kind of view it the same way. Right. If it doesn't, if the lines don't flow together and make a big picture, you know what I mean? Then you don't have a good set list, you know what I mean? So it's like, you got to really, if you truly love what you do, you'll know it's right just by, like, does that make sense?
You're feeling,
you
know deep
feel
down.
it.
Of course.
Exactly, right?
You know when you feel it that, okay, this is going to work.
Yeah.
But then you know that shit, it's not going to work. You start over. That's the passion. There's always a term like music soothes the soul within. So if you feel it inside your chest, if you feel it, then okay, it's working. That's going to work. Exactly. Right?
Exactly.
So I'm the same way. I mean, I always try to preach to other DJs. I mean, like I said, listen, you're backed up by legends. So my advice probably will not even work with you because your dad and your uncle are like fucking legends, right? So, but I always like to give my opinions and sometimes a little bit of what people say can put together to make it work, right? Yeah. So I'm always like, I'm a house DJ, but I'm an open format DJ. I'll play everything from classic rock to hip hop to R&B to house to whatever it may be, because of the places that I play at are more different age groups. So not all are gonna listen to house the whole night, right? But your gigs that you're having, the way they're promoted, the way they're brought out, it works. And I still honestly believe you are the youngest female house music DJ probably in all of Canada. Like, I mean, because I researched it, and it's like there's nobody. Like there's like female DJs that are in their 20s, like 26, 27, and I get it. I mean, they probably started off very young, but they haven't been showcased. Like your dad is so passionate about you, and your mom, beautiful people, and it's like they understand what you want to do, and they're behind you, so right? So supportive, and they're behind you. And plus, I'm sure Henry, your uncle, is the same way, and
my little sister,
so
my boyfriend,
awesome.
And I have such a good support system. My friends too, like God bless them.
They're that's
incredible.
I mean, like look out for this girl, man. She's gonna, I think she's really gonna get. You're gonna go far. Okay,
thank you.
I honestly think you will, and it's and that's what this whole series is about. Like the guest I had on last week's show, he's 24. And we're talking offline about him, and he works for Red Bull. He started off more when he was probably 19ish. He was dabbling in it, and he didn't and he wanted to get into it, so he came by the studio, and we're he's playing around. He got his first controller and started messing around, played on vinyl, and anyway, so now he's like he's dabbling into producing music. So for 6 years he's producing music, and then DJing for Red Bull. So I'm trying to guide him in the sense of like, okay, where's your head at? Where do you want to go, right? Because you're good at both, but what do you think is reasonable and feasible for you at this age?
What's
right?
realistic? Yeah.
What's realistic, right? Do you want to be a press button, put your hands in the air type of DJ, which they can make a ton of money, but is it something is that what you want, or do you want to just produce music and ghost produce, or you want to do some? But I don't know, like. You don't know what's going to be better for you financially, right? So he's figuring it out, and I connected him with some record labels that definitely he should be into if he's going to get more production. And for you too, like, I mean, when you're at this age, you're young. I think there's a lot of avenues for you to go to DJ at, okay?
100%.
And so who takes care of all your bookings for you? Like you?
It's all me.
It's all you, right?
I'm like a one-woman show,
Okay,
what I mean?
so like, that's great.
Like my dad helps me, with things, but it's like, I think one thing, as much as I love my dad, one of the goals right now for me is that like I want to separate myself from my dad. You know what I mean? Like I want to have my own.
In a good way.
In a good way. Yeah. Just
I know
to be clear.
I know how your dad gets.
You know what I mean?
What do you mean separate from
No. I know. Like I want to make sure that like like I'm there's my uncle and there's my dad. Like we're the Jarmillos, right?
Right, but you're independent. You want to be independent, right?
Especially because like like. I'm 21 years old. I know I'm really young, and my goal is that I want to bridge, like show this generation, my generation, real house music again. Bring back house music. You know what I mean? The same way that house music was like a commercial thing before. Like everybody listened to house music back in the day, right? You go on the radio, it was all house music,
of
right?
Course.
Nowadays, it's like, it's everything's hip hop dominated. Don't be wrong. Like, I feel like house music is definitely making a comeback with like Drake and Beyonce releasing their stuff, which is amazing. But I'm trying to bridge that, I want to make the non-house listener a house listener, you know what I mean? Awesome. Or appreciate house music.
Right.
And that's my goal. I want everybody to have a good time. When I'm like what we were talking about before, when I pick stuff, right? Like I want to play something for everybody while staying aligned with myself, you know? So but like I have my own style that I want to focus on, and also, you know, just meet my career and everything. And like, yeah, like I want to just, you know, if that makes sense. Like I just want to be independent, you know.
Yeah. No, it does make sense.
Right. You know, because I want to be able to get my own bookings, be my own, you know, just everything. Right. You know, so, but like, yeah, I guess it's like me and my dad, you know, me and my dad, we work together with all that. For sure.
Right? It's the hardest part that you're going to run into is figuring out what you're worth. Okay. Because that is always something that A, I struggled with, and B, I teach other people, whether it's not just DJing, it could be anything from, you know, photography to car mechanics to whatever it may be. You always try to figure out, okay, what are you worth, right? You know, like a lot of DJs will play, you know, for a certain amount. Okay. To me, I think that you need to start to be strong and hold your ground on what you're really worth. So like, because then people will see the value in booking you. If they book you because you're cheap, I'm not saying cheap like you're a cheap DJ, but like you have a good rate and you have a good rate. I don't know, like if you're doing like a 2-hour set, you know, if you're doing a 2-hour set, I wouldn't leave the house for under $600. Okay, for a 2-hour set. Just saying, like I'm just throwing a number out there. Might be different, might be more, might be less, not too sure. You know, because if you're arriving to play with at a club that has CDJs and you just come with a USB stick, you know, you should be valued to them, to the crowd, of what you're really worth, and not portray yourself to start off at a low price to get your bookings, to build yourself, because that, you know, to me, you know, and I might be wrong, you might be think a little different, but that's why I always like to throw my tidbits back at you, you know, like, you know, it's always some good advice, you know, you know, from an old guy like me that's been there, and I'm sure your dad's been there, and we love to play for the hell of it. Okay, we like to play because we love it. You know, we play for free for our friends and family. I get that, you know, but if you're going to a club and they're charging admission, so the club is making a ton of money in the bar, administrate, you know, the door and so forth, and you walk in and you're doing your bookings. Be strong on what your value. You should figure out what you're worth, okay, and stick with it, because I mean, if people say, you know, let's say you charged, I'm gonna throw a number, $800 for 3 hours or 2 hours of work of DJing, they're paying for you to curate a story to them. Okay, like we talked about, and how you mentioned about having a story. You want them to take them on a journey that's worth it, not just to play for music and people just, you know, dancing around, whatever. You want to let them feel your music, right? And you've got that part down pat. Okay. Now you have to, I'm an entrepreneur. So sometimes you have to think like an entrepreneur if you're getting into this, right? You got to think to yourself, okay, it's almost like now it's a business now. So should I start to, let's say I'm going to now not trademark my name, but I'm going to go and register my name. Okay. So you want to register your name as a company, right? So you want to register your name so no one else can take your name. And then you can start to think about, okay, you know, if it does get big, I'm already there prepared. I can get, you know, some things going, right? So, because if you're doing it now, and it's like, you know, and listen, I don't know you like you know, of what your plans are in the future. So, you know, I'm assuming that DJing is the big plans and the big picture. Okay.
For sure.
So, you know, like I think that you should figure out what you're worth. You have a great value of what you're worth, and I think you should set up a company, okay? Because it's free to register a name. So once you do that, then you get your tax number, you get all the business number, everything's all set. Put that aside. So when you do get big, you know, then business starts to flow through. Then it's a different story. But I mean, you need to. I think that's a direction you should go with. But for booking yourself and hustling to get a business, I love that. I love that. If you can do it, hustle and grab and get business like that, unbelievable, right? So, but that's that's me. So
no, I appreciate that. I think that's really valuable, because it's been like I pretty much changed career directions. Like I thought I was going to be a director. Yeah. and then now I'm a DJ. Like I never expected, I did DJ like gigs when I was like young at my elementary school for the dances, right? Nice. I used to do that too, but it was just like playing, you know what I mean? Nothing crazy, but
of course,
I didn't think I would be a DJ. I thought I would be a director, you know what I mean?
I think director's exciting too, though, man.
It is exciting, but the only thing about it is just like the industry can be very toxic.
Oh, can it really? I don't know it, so I'm not too sure. Right?
It's amazing when you have a good team of people, but then it's also not the best when you don't have the best team, and it's like it's a lot of stress on you. I like DJ because it's you, right? Yeah, it's you. You coordinate the music, you coordinate everything, and it's like. And it's a lot more passionate. It hits me a lot more. You know what I mean? Sure. It hits the soul. Yeah. It nurtures the soul, right?
Right.
So, when it comes to now being a DJ, I'm just kind of like, oh my God, like, where do I start? Yeah, I feel like there's so much I need to do, and there's so much that I haven't done,
there's so much that you have not done.
Right.
And your dad can contest the same. Yeah, your dad, you can agree with me that, there are things that your dad and I have seen over the years that probably you shouldn't see, but but the whole experience of DJing into the nightclub scene to festivals and the money is when I talk about money, you're young, so like, and I'm always gonna use the term young because you're at the age where it's like you still got to think of like what you want to do, right? So you're young, but you also got to now you're building a career out of this.
Yeah.
So, festivals are really good for shows, good for showcasing, good for financial rewards and so forth. Clubs are great. Like what you're doing is fantastic. Building your brand, and that's what you're doing is building your brand, right? Until you can say to yourself, you know what, we built it. This is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to start hitting up all these places because all these little clubs are starting to come back now because of the pandemic. So things are starting to open up a little bit more. You're going to get more lounges opening up, and that's where you can target that. You can be more involved in that, or cater to certain other lineups with headliners that are out there. Like I know Todd Terry's coming down, and there's other DJs down the line that are coming, that are DJing alongside them. So those things are great. So if you can get your foot in those doors, get your brand in there, I think it'd be great. Plus your dad's got a bazillion connections,
of course,
but to go back to you now, so you learned on vinyl, which is great. I was at your dad's studio before. We're just chatting. I think you and I were talking back then about it. And your dad's awesome, man. He's just
he's great,
wild and crazy guy. I love it, man. He's just so happy.
Of course.
And I had him on my podcast before pandemic, so I had him here before. I want to get him and his brother in together because the stories they can share will be like incredible. Like the younger generation would never experience this back then because pre-pandemic or years ago, there are things that we would do that we wouldn't think about doing now.
I know.
Right?
I know.
So, so great. You have great support. You're the house music scene is, Toronto has an amazing house music scene, and to see you in it, because it's like, you're an untapped market. Okay. And you can get into a lot of these places because of the fact that you're great, you curate awesome sets, and you got a great background with you, and I would take advantage of that, right? And because I've been like, pump yourself up for that, like you're fucking awesome, right? You need to, it's sometimes you just like, if you're humble and you're like, well, I don't know if I should go there. Nah, fuck, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna do it, right? The worst they're gonna say is no. You know what? No, or whatever, right? So, so there's a lot of potential out there for you, and whether you continue to now, have you thought about getting into music production at all?
Yes, definitely. I do want to get into music production. I have Logic.
Okay.
Right? I have Logic, so it's just timing, I'm so busy right now, so I'm just trying to find the right time to approach all that. But I do really want to do producing, because I have so many ideas, right? Especially if I could play my own songs, that'd be so cool, right?
Amazing.
It'd be amazing. Sure. And being a DJ, producer, I think those are two things that work really well together, right? Even if I have just a couple songs in my discography, that I can just like put out, you know, like the way my dad did it, right? Like I think that's so dope. And to have something, even just to work with somebody on a song, like I would love to do that, you know. I think music production is, like I always say that, you know, when like being a DJ, it's always good to learn production, even if you don't end up doing it, just because you understand what it is, like a structure of a song, you know what I mean? And you know the science behind it. You get what I'm saying? It makes you a better DJ, right? Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, like if you're a director, it's good to learn about drama and acting, because you know what it is to be in front of the camera. Helps you understand and create better, right? I feel like the more education and the more, like, you know, the more you teach yourself in your realm of, you know, wherever you are, right? Like the better it is, the better of an artist you become. Like that's why I love like Kanye West, for instance, right? That guy, whatever he puts his mind to, he immerses himself in it, and he learns everything he can. That's what makes him so good.
Yeah,
you know
what
I mean? So, you know, and a lot of people do that. It's not just him, right? But he's just a very good example, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? So, but I do think producing would be a really good addition to my, you know, to especially with my DJing, right? You know, like my goal in life is that like I told you, it still stays the same, as be a master storyteller, to utilize whatever medium I can to tell a story, right? And using sound, I think, is so beautiful, right? And I think adding that into, you know, my list of what I do, I think it would be really good, you know? So for sure. Producing's definitely on the table for the future. Yeah.
I think you nailed it, that, you know, production, it obviously isn't for everybody, but at least it gets you to understand all the stems of the tracks. It gets you to the construction of the music, and also, you know, it also, you can build on your style of music that you want, right? So if you know, like certain DJs, and I talked about it with Matt last week, that, you know, you can tell, you know, like if it was, you know, Deadmau5, Tiesto, you know, Armin van Buuren, like they all have a style of a sound, right? So if that's how usually people distinguish between the producers and DJs, right? So I think it's dope that, you know, now you got me saying dope, but I think it's great that you can get into more of the production side of things, just to I guess it gets creative. Your mind getting creative on some of the songs you want to do.
It enhances everything. It enhances your experience as a DJ, right?
For sure.
You know, especially because like I think some of the best advice I've got, I didn't get this, I read this in a book, is like create the art that you want to, you know, consume. You know what I'm saying? Or create like what you want to hear, create what you want to see, right? So it's like if I'm creating the music I want to hear, right, then you know what I mean? Like it's like especially because, you know, one thing I love is French house. Love French house. Really? Okay. It's fabulous. Like my dad put me on Roulette, you know, Roulette Records, sure. Thomas's record label, and like I remember just hearing the music, even Romanthony too. Yeah. Like I absolutely adore all that, right? So it's like, you know, if I could ever one day replicate or obviously find my own style, adopt my own style, you know, when it comes to that, like I would love that, right? You know, I think it just enhances, it makes things a lot better, you know, while you're DJing too, because it's like you like, I don't know, the more education you have, the better, right?
Of course it is,
man. Yeah, it's the journey to become a Jedi Master. Yeah, you get what I'm saying?
No, of course man.
My goal is to be a Jedi Master of DJing or in storytelling, right? So,
for sure.
But right?
Well, you know what? You're on the right path. Definitely right path. I think the more experience you get on you know, playing on the decks, you know, sometimes words of wisdom might come out from different people. Yeah. Like absorb it. Sometimes people will talk out of their ass, and I get that. Yeah. But you know what's genuine, what's not.
100%.
Right. So, and you know, you know, and your dad will agree with this. And there's a lot of people that, you know, like to take advantage of other people. So just be aware of that. You know, because it's so easy to say to yourself, oh my God, you know, I get all these jobs, I get all these bookings and blah, blah, but this person could be a total idiot, right? So just be careful on that, because you're young, right? Because you're young, but the naive was still there a little bit, the inexperiencedness, right? Yeah. So, you know, you want to be more
stand your
aware.
ground.
Stand your ground and
be self-aware.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, other than that, I mean, it's like, so, you're the clubs that you like. There's no particular clubs that you like to play in. Like, which ones you want to play at that you can see yourself play at, in Toronto?
Coda.
Okay.
Coda. I love. Oh my God! I went to go and see Nicole Moodiver.
Okay.
Nicole, I love Nicole Moodiver. I love her so much. It's more techno, but I love all that. And I remember just seeing it there, and I'm like, oh my God, imagine. And what's beautiful is that that dream doesn't seem far from reality. You know what I mean? It's so close, right? Coda. I would love to DJ at Electric Island too.
Sure.
Electric Island. I would love to do maybe Vertigo. What else? Nomad. But I think my first is and then Wiggle Room. Shouts out the Wiggle Room.
For sure.
It's such a beautiful. The sound system's amazing. Yeah. It's such an intimate. Such a nice club.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I think my in Toronto, it's definitely Coda. That's the first one on my list that ideally I'd want to DJ. If I could go back in time and DJ at Government, I would love to DJ at Government too. The stories my dad tells me about Government, and
ton of stories.
Yeah, that place was such a big meeting ground for everybody, right? For a bunch of DJs, experiences, so many different things.
Definitely.
But that's where Coda is definitely at the top of my list for sure.
Awesome. You should connect with Sarah Sims. She's
Sims.
Big up to Sarah. She's an awesome techno DJ. Mm-hmm. She's from Toronto. She's going to be in Vegas, I think this week doing a gig. But she's out there. She does her thing. Mm. She also produces. She works. Oh my God, I think she works for Mixed in Key. Okay. So she does a lot of the she works for them and the Canadian side because it's a U.S. company. But she's an awesome techno DJ. Awesome. Give her a follow. I mean, I'll send you the link as well. Sure. There's always people to connect with and just pick their brains and they would love to share what they know and to help you. Mm-hmm. Who are some of the DJs that inspired you to become, besides your dad? Yeah. Who are some of the DJs that inspired you to become what you are? Nicole Moodiver, because I want to do house and techno. Those are my two things, and I love techno. Mm-hmm. And Nicole is she's everything. Nicole, Thomas Banglater. Yeah, I love him. Romanthony. Who else? Oh my God, there's so much. There's a lot of them out there. There's so much, but I think the biggest ones are just Daft Punk. Daft Punk was my ultimate, right? Seeing them perform. They do their Alive. The Alive 2007. That live album. Yeah. When I saw them do that, when I was a kid, and they saw the videos on YouTube, I would be holy crap, this is so sick, and that still resonates with me to this day, right? So. And just who else is there? I don't know. That's a hard question. No, it is, and it's there's you can there are so many great DJs out there. Honey Dijon, I love Honey Dijon. Okay. That's another one. Honey Dijon, Cashmere or Green Velvet too. Right. I love him too. Oh my God, yeah. There's so much. I used to Peggy Goo. Peggy Goo. Oh yeah, okay. She's newer. I like Peggy Goo. Peggy Goo's really good. There's also, oh my God, she's Italian. There's also Charlotte DeWitt. She's more techno. But yeah, I could go on and on. There's there's so many that influence you. That's great. There's so much, but yeah. I think the top of my list though is definitely Daft Punk. You know, so because when they touch those decks and the stuff that they would do, I know is especially Thomas. I would be how the hell did he do that? Right. Especially back in the day when you'd have no controllers, no nothing. Nope. He would be looping. He would be doing all this crazy stuff, and I'm trying to dissect his mixes. Oh, you're analyzing everything. Analyzing every single thing. I love putting on, old sets and or even new sets, boiler room sets, and just analyzing every single thing. This one mix that I was literally just watching it yesterday. Honey Dijon, it was her boiler room set. She did it, I think, in Europe. Right? It was I forget what it was called.
But I've been listening to it, I think, for the past 2 years.
Have you really?
Like over and over and over.
Would you like to be at the Boiler Room though?
Oh my God, that's my dream.
Is it?
If that's the top of my list,
right.
actually.
Right.
That's like I wanna
have you ever seen what the Boiler Room? There's different locations, but the main Boiler Room, I don't know. I forget where it was. Yeah. But it's like this, like it's like a grungy.
Yeah.
Like a boiler room. Like it's like, and the DJ's in the middle.
Yeah.
And everyone's around you. Right. So, but it's such a cool vibe.
It's so sick.
You know, I
so
love
sick.
it.
And that's my style. Like that's where I want to be. You know, I love that. Yeah. Just like, you know, especially because they record everything, right? And like you're right in the middle and everyone's around you going crazy.
Oh, I love that.
You know, you have a booming sound system. You're just going at it. You're having fun. Like, oh my God, I watch those sets and I'm just like,
yeah, for sure,
incredible, like absolutely incredible. And I'll be there one day. Like I'm saying right now, I'm declaring it right now.
You heard it, you've seen it.
I'm gonna be there.
Absolutely, you will.
I will. I have like, you know, and also you know, I want to DJ for Kanye West one day, right?
Okay,
that's a big thing on my list, right?
Start contacting him or
you want to know
tagging
something
him.
Crazy? I haven't admitted this like to people, you know, like online. Like I've told my friends and people in conversation, but Kanye West followed me on Instagram.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, there you go. That's
so,
your the door is open.
Yeah, I know.
For a ton of potential, man.
But I'm so nervous.
Oh my God,
to talk to
him. No, man.
He followed me last year, actually, right after my birthday. It
awesome.
was the best birthday present in the world. But and it was so random. I don't know how it happened. I'm not complaining, you know. He followed me and
roll with it, man. Roll with that shit.
You know, so Nicole Moodiver followed me on Instagram too.
Excellent.
You know, I have a lot of people, but like Kanye West, you know, and Nicole, you know, Nicole too. I'd love to open up for her one day, but like, the Kanye West thing would be.
See all the opportunities you have. You can
know.
contact her and say, hey, listen, I'd love to open up for you.
She said, contact me next time I'm in Toronto.
See, my God, man, how great is that?
Or she's in Toronto,
for sure.
But like that's big, you know.
It is big.
Yeah, you know, but eventually,
that's oh my God, like I love hearing shit like that because it's like potential business or connections. You can, you know, oh my God, you know,
the sky's the limit. Like I can't, you know, ever since I was young, you know, ever since I was in grade 8 and I made it into my school of the arts, like anything I thought about, I put my mind to, I got it.
Good.
I had my little bit of time where I had like a bit of, you know, I was, you know, going through stuff, kind of had a hiatus, but like now I'm back on that.
Good.
Everything I know and everything I want will happen. Right. And I will get to Kanye West soon. You know what I mean? I will.
Fucking
you guys heard it here right now.
You heard it here, man. You heard it here.
You know, there's so many things, right? But
of course.
Yeah, you know, that was really big though when he followed me. That was like I still look at it every day. I'm like, oh my God, he follows me.
Little blue check mark and you know.
Literally, you know.
You
know, and like random people will come to me and be like, he follows you? I'm like, yeah, he does.
Yeah, man, we're fucking buds, man.
You know, so but yeah, like there's so many things that like even though my career is so fresh with like DJing, like I know and I'm confident in my ability to put my work out there and connect with these people and DJ with these people, and you know, because like, you know, I like DJing also for me is also like a you know, I'm going into the industry with this, right? I still I'm not giving up on my film or any of my other stuff, my other disciplines. Like
it's great to fall back on.
Exactly. But not even that. Like I just want to be able to do like how Kanye West does it, like everything. You know what I mean? Right. But obviously not stretching myself too thin, right? Just do everything, use the elements of everything, like to be a master storyteller, right? So it's like get big with DJing, do everything else too. Just like, you know, live my life in divine, like what's the word, like just in alignment of what my creative vision is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure it does, man.
So but yeah, there's like so much I want to do. So many people I want to play with, so many things that so many directions I want to go for, you know, but I gotta take things one day at a time.
You do, of course you do. It's like you don't want to just, you know, you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket and all of a sudden it's like, okay, now what do I do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I would promote you as like the youngest DJ, house DJ. That's the direction I would go with, and like I'd put that on my Instagram page. You know, that's the type of stuff that, will resonate with people, because that whatever you write on your Instagram, your Snapchat, or whatever it may be, that all those SEOs, all those words gets thrown on the internet, and people then find you, right? Because sometimes people will find you, typing youngest DJ or Canadian keywords, right? That is also another direction of getting out there as well,
for sure.
Just for just getting connections in the music world. What's your thoughts on? I know you have a passion for hip hop, house music, and a lot of DJs. Matt last week also, like, he's big hip hop fan. And big house fan, and with Red Bull, it's more open format, and he plays his own tracks that he's produced, because that's a great place that he plays it. No one's gonna, it could be at a skate park, it could be at a ski resort. No one's gonna be, hey, what's that song? He has a great time playing it, right? What I'm trying to get at is, like, what's your take on EDM, your version of EDM versus house music?
Like, what do you like?
So a lot of people would say that EDM is not house.
I gotcha.
Okay, more of electronic dance music, and then there's, like, we have, if you're going to compare it to deep house, it's a lot of people are not aligned with the fact that EDM is not house music, and and it also falls online too, and I'm sure I'm gonna get some haters online, but I don't mind techno. I'm not a big fan of techno. Everyone has their opinions, everything. A lot of people are saying that techno wasn't really a form of house. It's more of like a subgenre of house music. So, like, it's like a branch off from house, because they have, like,
it's an umbrella,
right? So, what I'm trying to get at is, what is your take on electronic dance music? If, like, do you consider that house music, like, comparing it to what you play?
Like, I mean, the EDMs, it's kind of hard, because it's like, so, like, some EDM songs will take elements of, like, techno and then also, like, house music, and then fuse it together, but also make it a pop song. You get what I'm saying? Like,
of course.
It's like a remix of a whole bunch of things, right? Like,
or it's a stitch of a lot of different songs too, right?
Exactly. We'll take elements of so many different things and just put it into one. Like, I don't hate on it or anything like that. There's EDM songs I love, right? I feel like as a DJ, you got to appreciate all forms of music, right?
Of course you do.
Everything, even the stuff that you don't normally like, you've got to respect it. You know what I'm saying? Because there's beauty in all of that, right? So, my take on that, like, I don't know, like, if it's good, it's good.
If it's good music, it's good music.
If it's good music, it's good music, right? And it's like, I don't know, the way I've always seen it is, like, house music came first, or no, disco came first.
Of course it did.
House music came after, then then the acid house and all that stuff.
All the subgenres of the
and then Detroit got their techno, their techno thing, right? So it's like, I don't know, like, in like literally in Can You Feel It? In the beginning there was house, right? Everything was house, right? Without house there wouldn't be no EDM, right?
True.
So it's like it's the father of everything, the father and mother of everything, right? Like, it's like, I don't know, I feel like everything, everything always comes back around to house music, right? So EDM's cool and everything, but it's nothing compared to what house truly is. And I feel like a lot of, I'll even say even tech house nowadays, right? There's certain tech house songs and certain EDM songs that it loses the essence of what house music truly is in it anymore, So it's like, I don't know. And that's the same thing with, like, hip hop too. Same thing with a lot of things, right? So I don't know. It's kind of a hard thing. Like, I don't. You get what I'm saying?
Of course you do. No, you're talking about it. It's like there really isn't. It's all opinion based answers. It's not. Not like it's not a scientific thing, and it's it's more of like, what was your opinion? What's your take on it, right? To me, in my opinion, I don't think EDM is house music. It's just the way my feeling about it is. And but I love all aspects of house. Like, love of all music. And when I see the festivals that come in and all the electronic festivals, and I'm just and this is just me. That's why it's an open format. I can say whatever I want. Right? I don't bash people. I just, and I'm not bashing music. I'm just like, I'm not a big fan of, what doesn't work for me is the fact that, a DJ's playing electronic music, and then this build up, and then it just
beat drops,
and then it's like, you got the fucking fireworks shooting off and everyone's bouncing up and down. It works for some people, but that doesn't work for me. Like, I wouldn't be that DJ.
Music.
It's right. I wouldn't play that at a on my sets, or I wouldn't play that because it's just not something that I'm gonna have people fucking hit the ceiling with. And I'm not. I don't have any cryo. Those oxygen guns that they'll spray the air. I don't have that.
Or you jump on top of the DJ stand
right.
and you're like, you're fist bumping.
Right. I mean, there's people that will do this places for that.
Yeah.
And to me, it's not me. Like, that's why I don't like about it. I don't prefer that. I prefer a DJ to curate their own music, and when they're playing their music, when they're, I love when a DJ, keeps the beat going and then uses an a cappella from another track. Vocals.
Or they sample.
Right. They sample. And I love that. I love the creativity of that.
For sure.
And because that to me is more of a storytelling
100%. 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's why when I wanted to get your opinion on EDM, I wanted to see what you got.
I get what you're saying now. Sorry, I won't lie. I was kind of like, I was like, oh, what does he exactly mean? But I get what you're saying now, and it's true. I agree with you. Like, I do feel like there's no creativity in EDM, right? There's don't get me wrong, I get hyped to certain EDM songs.
Of course.
It's so hype when you're an audience member and you're in the right setting and you're with your friends and you're just enjoying and you're celebrating. Like, it's great. But as a DJ though, it's like, where's the soul? Where's the heart? That's not what back in the 80s when house music was born, that's not what we were, partying to. It's not the same, right?
Yeah.
And that goes for a lot of genres of music, right? But I feel like, yes, EDM has kind of desensitized a lot of people when it comes to electronic music. For instance, house music, right? When someone hears house music, people automatically think oons, 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 oons.
Exactly.
And they have that stereotype. When I would tell my friends I play house music, they're like, oh. Or even the stereotype where it's white people music. I'm like, no.
Wow. Exactly. What are you fucking talking about?
Right. So, but that's the thing. It's kind of ruined the modern day perception of what house music truly is. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, if it's good, it's good. There's lots of I love deadmau5, right? Yeah. deadmau5 is great. He does a good job of what he does, but it's certain, a lot of that, especially because of the internet nowadays too, and the culture and all that, the true essence of house music has been lost, because of all these other things like Steve Aoki and David Guetta used to be good, right? He used to be really good, but now he's just an EDM artist and all that, right? So it's I agree with you. There's no back in the day you had Thomas, for instance, Thomas Banglater, chopping everything up, doing some crazy stuff, being creative, getting his sound out and his vision out, and it's and same with many other DJs, but it's now it's what are you doing? You're just pressing a button. Not anybody could be a DJ. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the reputation, that the harsh reputation that we get. Yeah. It's everyone says, oh, you guys just
press a button. Exactly. It's not like that. It's not like that. It's far from that.
And I'm sure you don't either. We don't have the assistance of, we're not here to sync shit up. We play by our sound. We feel your ears, right? You need,
and your passion too, right?
Yeah. You're like an old soul. Oh. You're old. I'm talking to you. It's you're 21, but it's I'm talking like it was a 50-year-old, because you knew the music, the feel of it. And a lot of people don't have that quality to do that.
My dad, he gave me that. He planted that seed in me, right? He really growing up not even just in house music and everything. He showed me everything. Yeah. My dad planted a seed, and everything else, I just expanded on it. Right. And I just really, and like I said, that's my goal as a DJ, right? I'm like a DJ from, you know, like the 90s, right? You know, exactly. 90s house music. Yeah. But, you know, born into today, that sounds a little cringy, but it's like, you know.
No, it's an old soul.
You know, an old soul. Yeah, like, exactly.
You have it.
I want to create that bridge, right? You know, like, because I understand what it is. Like, I understand the beauty of house music. Yeah. That has, like, you know, and especially learning on vinyl and a rotary mixer too on top of that, right? The most purest way to learn DJing. It's pure. Like, that's a lost art. You know what I mean? That's a lost art, right?
It is.
And I was just recently thinking about that. Not a lot of people, you know, have that blessing, right?
Nope.
You know, and that skill. So, but yeah, you know, like I definitely, you know, my dad definitely taught me, you know, just like the true essence of like house music and all that. That's why, you know, I can distinguish and just understand, you know, like EDM, like, you know, I remember like Skrillex would be on the TV growing up, and like my dad would be like, ugh.
You're right. You know?
Get that shit off. You know what I mean? That's
not house music. That's not fucking music.
Like, what are people doing nowadays? And then you'd see like DJ Pauly D or whatever, you know, fist bumping, just pressing a button, or you know, or DJ Khaled pretending to DJ or whatever. My dad would just show me like, this is not how it works. Right. But you know, like that's all, like that all planted something, like a seed in me. And like I now being a DJ, like I see everything, I understand everything, and that knowledge is only getting more grand. So it's like, I definitely am an old soul. Like that's true. Like now,
but you're an old soul, but you're still like, you're like a sponge. You're still learning.
100%.
We're all learning.
Yeah, we're always students.
Right. We're all students. Music will always be students. Will always be that. And
in life, you're always a student.
Of course, you have to, like a student of life. That's it's a term, right?
Exactly.
Has there ever been like a dark time for you where you just thought, you know what, fuck the music, I'm done, you know, like I don't know what I want to do? Like, was mental health a big issue or big problem, or was it affected at all? Like, did the pandemic affect you at all? You know, emotionally and that sort of stuff as well?
100%. There were so many times that I was just like, I would mess up and I would just get so mad at myself. I would just be like, oh my God, I get so hard on myself. Like, why am I doing this? You know, I have to be perfect. Like, I had all these unrealistic expectations for myself. And then once something would happen, I would automatically, like, it would just kind of like, it was like a domino effect, like boom. It would just topple over on everything else. And I would just give up and be like, I can't do this. You know what I mean? Like I was on the verge of giving up everything. I stopped practicing for a while. Even my dad was like, what are you doing? You know, why are you doing this? Right. And, you know, I was just going through a lot, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on in my personal life too. And my head wasn't just like, you know, all there, but it was, but the one thing I'll always give DJing, which is like so surreal to me, right? DJing is a meditation, right? It's a meditation, the way I looked at it, right? The way I reacted when I made a mistake showed me so many things about myself. It was like a chamber of reflection almost, right? Because once I learned how I reacted, I kind of dissected that. I'm like, why do I feel this way? Why do I freak out like this? And then I kind of searched deeper, right? Like, you know, DJing, I was on the verge of giving up, but then it also saved me. It taught me so much in terms of like just mental strength and not even just that, just like so many things in life, because like anything you do, especially like a creative discipline, can translate in every area of your life. And like DJing, like was just like, it was so weird. I was like, oh my God, it made me realize so much about myself, and it helped me get back to a better place. Right? You know, once I made some changes in my life, you know, before like a couple months ago, or not even, like it's been a while, more so in the beginning of the year before the summer. Once I got back on track and I made these changes to my life, you know, DJing just got better. I got better at it. I became more confident. Things just like kind of flowed better. And the more I went on those decks, the more I, you know, just got better overall as a person. So it was like a saving grace for my mental health. It was, you know, it definitely was hard at a point where, you know, I was just like, I'm not good enough. I kept comparing myself to my dad too. I'll be transparent about it. Like, you know, like I would cry about it. I'd be like, you know, my dad is so great. You know, everyone talks about how amazing he is and all that. And he is, but it's like, you know, everyone expects me to be like, even better than him.
Or you're pushing yourself to be that.
Exactly. Like that was my thought process at the time. But like, maturing is realizing that like, it's not about that. You know what I mean? Like I'm my own person and DJing is my own personal journey. And I have a great support system of amazing people, amazing friends, amazing family, watching over me during this journey, and, but yeah, it's been definitely like the most random, most weirdest blessing that life has given me, right? Like because it was definitely something that it definitely it changed me. It made me a better woman, you know what I mean?
Well, I'm glad you recognized it, and you worked at it to correct it and or help you, because I mean the music to me, and I always am a huge advocate of it, is that music is a great tool to aid in mental health awareness. I mean, there's, or being on the decks, clearing my mind up, whether, it happens to everybody, young and old, it doesn't matter what it is. We all have those dark moments where it's like, I'm fucking done.
You're done.
I'm done. But then, great support, the music has really been helpful. I've talked to a lot of people. I have a great cat that comes on my show a lot. He's all about mental health and ways of, like, he's a coach for mental health awareness, and I'm going to be incorporating more into that into my shows. So which is kind of cool because everyone, we all have these issues sometimes that really affects us, and whether it's a trigger point, whether it's something that makes us go, we always want to try to grab that and try to deter from being a problem, right? So, but and music definitely is a help, and it's healing. It works for you too, right? But this is awesome, man. Listen, this is. How you feeling? You feeling good?
I'm feeling good. I won't lie. I was really nervous at the beginning, it's like
I could tell because when you look back and watch this, you'd be like, and then because you've gotten a lot comfortable,
a lot more dynamic with talking. Yeah, just because it's like when you're talking about you. Like I love talking. Like I love talking to people. I love all that. But it's like when you're put on the spot and you're asking me questions, I'm just like.
And by the way, it's not scripted. There's no script. It's all winging it on the fly, right? It's all in the flow. So which is good. So I mean, I listen. I really appreciate you coming down.
Of course,
and
thank you.
And you are. To me, you are the youngest house music female DJ in all of Canada, and I need you. And you need to brand that, and work with that, and flow with that. And whether you listen to me or not, I think you have got something going.
Oh, and, thank you.
No, listen, I mean,
thank you.
It's my pleasure, and thank you for coming down to the studio.
Of course, thank you.
And being part of the second part to the up and coming DJs, segment of my podcast, and I hope all that you inspire. Excuse me, you inspire other DJs, young and older DJs, to come out of their, let's say, their shell, or come out of their, if they need that little bit of push, that this would help them to do that, right? So
I mean, that would be like that's what that would be the goal,
Sure. Like, I mean, if you can help that one person,
that's like,
our job is done.
Exactly.
Right. So
and that's the thing. Like, if there's one thing that my dad taught me ever since I was young, no matter where I went, my dad never forced, and my mom never forced anything, on me. And the thing is with that, whatever I, directed myself in, I put my mind to it. And like, you could do anything you put your mind to, my dad always taught me that when I was young. And, like, no dream is too big. No dream is too big, and that gave me a lot of confidence,
Good.
And like, I had my times where I was low and everything, but it's like seriously, like, you have a dream, go for it.
Right.
Life is too short, literally everything is in the mind. If you want something and you're hungry for it, nothing's stopping you. The only things that can stop you is yourself.
Right.
At the end of the day. And I know it's like basic knowledge, but nobody really gets that, No,
but that's to me, that's hustling.
It's hustling.
Okay, you gotta keep going, man.
Exactly.
You gotta, like, if you want that, go get it. It's not gonna come to you.
Oh, it's not gonna come to you. Nothing's gonna be served to you on a platter like that. You gotta work for it. Right. And the truth is, to become great, the journey's never gonna be easy.
Right.
It's never gonna be easy. It's gonna be a very lonely, very crazy time or whatever. But if you want something, go get it, you know?
Exactly.
Life is too short. It doesn't matter if you're old. It doesn't matter if you're too young. If you're young, that's great. If you're older, you know, great. You know, it doesn't matter. It's never too late for anything. So it's like,
of course.
Yeah, just keep going, you know?
Yeah.
Even though this DJing thing is a little daunting to me sometimes because of how new everything is.
Yeah,
it's
for
like,
sure.
You know, I like keep going. I got to tell myself keep going.
You got to keep going, right?
Yeah.
You should you should connect to a podcast. If you ever listen to podcasts, check out the podcast called The Road Podcast. It's and I'll send you the link. Basically, big up to DJ Crooked and all his crew there. These guys they're hip hop DJs, and it's all about hip hop, and it's about you know DJs from around the world. But what's great about it is that even though that you know I appreciate hip hop, you know I don't play the newer hip hop stuff. I play the older stuff. Yeah. But their direction of guests from you know old school DJs to old school hip hop artists to their storytelling, you know, inspires me to, you know, to the way I write my podcast, the way I talk to my guests or what guests I want. So but it's, if you're into hip hop, listen to their podcast because it's really cool. They're cool cats down there, but, listen, DJ, thanks so much for coming down tonight in the podcast, and I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
And we'll bring it back when you're big and famous, and
for sure, because it will happen.
It will happen. It will happen.
No, of course.
Of course, man.
Thank you. No, thank you, Dave. You know, it's been such an amazing experience. My first podcast.
That's awesome.
You know, and I really appreciate it. Thank you for the support, and thank you for the love. And
hey, cheers.
Cheers.
Great to have you here.
Thank you. Oh, and you know, shout out to my mom, my dad, my little sister, my boyfriend, all my beautiful friends. Awesome. All these amazing DJs in my life. You need that, right? Like, thank you. Shouts out to everybody that supported me on this journey. You know, I couldn't have done it without you guys. Right. So,
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Great head on your shoulders. Great head on your shoulders. Guys, I really appreciate it. Thank you for tuning into the Noisy Chair podcast, and we'll see you all next week. Peace out.